Yes, my friends, there's a fragile wide receiver roster on the brink, and just one injury away from a full-blown crisis. This isn't doomsday talk. This is a very real and relevant conversation that's circulating right now, thanks to voices like Tony Grossi and Zach Jackson of The Athletic, and it's a discussion that Browns fans can't afford to ignore. I'll give you all the details, but first, make sure to hit the like button if you've been a Browns fan for 16 plus years. It's great to see fans of all ages. There are people here who have been bleeding brown and orange for 30 plus years. The utmost respect. Now, I want to ask you this. On a scale of 0 to 10, how would you rate Kevin Stefanski as the Browns head coach? Comment below. Okay, let's get right to it. Let's start with Jerry Jeudy, the crown jewel of the current wide receivers room. Andrew Berry deserves a lot of credit for getting this deal done, a 5th and 6th round pick to secure a dynamic weapon and signing him to an extension before he even stepped foot in Berea. It was a gamble, but it paid off. If they hadn't extended him, they'd be looking at a much higher contract right now. So, yeah, Jeudy is great. You know what to expect from him, crisp routes, electrifying after the catch, and someone who can anchor the offense. But what happens if, or when, he gets hurt? And that's not an unfounded assumption. Jeudy has missed time before, ankle issues in Denver, and no one in this league is immune to the next blow. If he goes down, the Browns are suddenly leaning on Cedric Tillman as their WR1. And while that may sound exciting to some, especially Tennessee fans who saw him dominate on Saturdays, make no mistake, this is a leap. A concussion in the Snow Globe game against the Steelers ended his 2023 season prematurely, and as encouraging as his performances were late last year, they came in a limited sample size after Amari Cooper was traded to Buffalo. Can we count on him for 17 games? Right now, that's a hope, not a guarantee. Beyond those two, the situation gets murky fast. Mike Woods has had his moments in training camp. Sure, highlight catches make the rounds, but those are isolated plays, not production. He missed all of 2023 with an Achilles tear, and Achilles injuries, as we know, don't just disappear quietly. Then there's David Bell, whose hip issue kept him sidelined for nearly the entire season. The optimism surrounding him has cooled, and the reality is we haven't seen enough to believe he can take a leap. Deontay Johnson is technically in the mix. Yes, that Deontay Johnson, the one who flashed brilliance in Pittsburgh but also brought drama. Let's be honest, if he's not producing or staying locked in with two playoff teams like the Ravens and Texans, both of whom released him, what are the odds Cleveland becomes the place where he suddenly figures it out? This isn't about his talent. It's about reliability, attitude, and culture fit. And can the Browns locker room really be counted on to keep a player like that in line? That's a fair question, and right now, the answer doesn't inspire confidence. So here's the picture. Jeudy is elite but has injury concerns. Tillman is talented but unproven and coming off a concussion. Woods and Bell are recovering from serious injuries. Johnson is a wild card, at best, which leads to one simple, powerful conclusion. This wide receiver room is one injury away from being in serious trouble. That's not an overreaction. That's the reality. And that's why the buzz about adding a veteran receiver is not just smoke. There's real fire behind it. The names being floated? Let's walk through them. First, Amari Cooper. Yes, the same Cooper they traded to the Bills. And yes, it would be awkward. But awkward doesn't matter when you're trying to win. Think about it. Cooper isn't exactly fielding offers left and right. And if he's trying to put up big numbers for one more payday next year, reuniting with Joe Flacco might be the smartest move he could make. Their connection last season was explosive. If Cooper wants stats and a future contract, Cleveland, ironically, could be the best place to get it. Then there's Gabe Davis. He's younger, physical, a strong blocker, and someone who brings something new to this unit. Kevin Stefanski added 2 running backs in the draft. That signals a return to a more physical, run-heavy offense. Davis fits that mold perfectly, and he's still on the market. And finally, Keenan Allen, a technician, a route-running savant. If the Browns are going with a rookie quarterback, say, Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel, what better mentor than Allen? He just did it with Caleb Williams in Chicago. Yes, Allen says he prefers Chicago or a return to the Chargers, but if those doors don't open, Cleveland could become a surprisingly smart landing spot. So here we are, less than a month from training camp, and the Browns' wide receiver room is a mix of promise and peril. Andrew Berry values the position deeply, and the odds of another move, perhaps even a headline-making one, are higher than you might think. Let's go even deeper, because this isn't just about insurance at wide receiver, it's about setting the tone for the entire season. Every year, teams face that invisible tipping point, one moment where a single decision or hesitation echoes through all 17 games. The Browns' choice to bring in, or not bring in, another experienced wideout could be that exact moment. And it's not just about catching passes. It's about what that receiver brings to the quarterback room, to the huddle, to the sideline. Leadership. Dependability. Presence. Imagine a rookie quarterback stepping into his first NFL game, surrounded by a wide receiver core that's either banged up, inexperienced, or unreliable. Now imagine that same rookie looking to his right and seeing Keenan Allen, or even Amari Cooper, lining up. That's not just comfort, that's confidence. Even for a veteran like Joe Flacco, familiarity matters. Chemistry matters. It's no coincidence that the suggestion of reuniting him with Cooper has gained traction. Flacco's late-season run with Cleveland wasn't just a feel-good story, it was a statistical resurgence. And who was he feeding the ball to in that stretch? Exactly. Of course, there's a counter-argument worth hearing. Why bring in an older receiver who might stunt the growth of younger talent like Tillman, Bell, or even Woods if he makes a healthy return? What if that addition takes valuable reps away from guys who need those snaps to develop? Here's the reality check. You don't develop receivers in blowouts or meaningless games. You develop them in playoff pushes, tight third quarters, must-convert third downs. And to get there, you need wins. To win, you need reliability. If the Browns are serious about competing this year, they can't afford to find out in October that their depth wasn't deep enough. And again, we're not talking about fantasy speculation. We're talking about actual scenarios already knocking at the Browns' door. Jeudy has missed time. Tillman is coming off a concussion. Johnson is a culture risk. Bell and Woods are unknowns. This isn't about being pessimistic, it's about being prepared. Let's circle back to the front office. Andrew Berry has shown time and time again that he values wide receivers, sometimes in surprising ways. The Jeudy extension came before he took a single practice rep. That wasn't just a football decision, it was a philosophical one. Lock in your talent early. Secure the room. If that mindset still applies, don't be shocked if the Browns act sooner rather than later. And if they do, it might not be one of the big three names, Cooper, Davis, or Allen. It might be a smaller move, a quiet signing that barely makes waves at first. But the need is real. The depth chart doesn't lie. And the window for action is closing fast. As training camp nears, this is the moment to decide. Will Cleveland bet on potential and youth, or will they bring in another veteran to stabilize a unit that desperately needs it? And what happens if they don't? Let's imagine the worst-case scenario. Jeudy gets hurt in week 3. Tillman's not ready to carry the load. Johnson's off his game or off the roster. Suddenly, the Browns' passing offense is in chaos. Defenses load the box, Stefanski's run-first vision collapses, and now your entire offensive strategy has to change on the fly. That's how seasons derail. But now flip the script. Imagine week 3, and you've got Jeudy, Tillman growing in confidence, and Keenan Allen turning 3rd and 6 into 1st and 10. Or Gabe Davis throwing downfield blocks for Nick Chubb and opening lanes on the perimeter. Now you're dangerous. Now you're balanced. Now you're a problem. So the ball is in Cleveland's court. The blueprint is on the table. And the opportunity? It's there, staring right back at us. What do you think, Browns Nation? Should we roll the dice with our current wideouts and hope for the best? Or should Andrew Berry pull the trigger on one more piece to solidify the offense? Let us know in the comments. And if you're enjoying these deep dives, make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a beat as we roll into training camp and beyond. This offseason isn't over. Not by a long shot.